So just when you thought the infrastructure for Federation services couldn't get any more complicated, it does. So let's think about this now. We have our enterprise. We want to make maybe resources available inside it, or we want to access the resources from some other enterprise. We have the Active Directory Federation services that we sit on the edge. We have the web application proxy that can work with this that sits on the edge. And now we have Active Directory rights management services to assist in ensuring that we have security as user accounts are transferring information potentially in or out of our enterprise. Once again, Active Directory rights management services can work in conjunction with our Federation services. And in this hands-on lab nugget, I'll show you how to set this up. It is very easy, but it is definitely worth us running through together. Fire open your hands-on lab and get logged in to DC NUG, where we're going to add the Active Directory RMS service to this system. So obviously we want to go to Server Manager, and the first thing that we're going to do in Server Manager is we are going to create a user account that this service can utilize. So we'll go to Tools, and we're going to go to Active Directory Users and Computers as soon as the Tools menu pulls up. There we go. So we'll just go into the Users container there in Users and Computers, and we'll right click, and I will create a new user. And this user is going to be ADRMS because I'm so creative. User login name will be ADRMS. We'll choose Next. We'll indicate that the password is going to be our password from the clipboard and confirm that. And then for this account, we don't want the password changed and we don't want it expiring. We'll choose Next and Finish. I'll go into this account, go to Member Of, ensure it's a member of domain users, and I will add it to domain admins to ensure we don't have any permissions issues when it comes to the use of this account by the service. Next up, we'll close the Users and Computers tool, and we'll go to Manage, where we're going to add roles and features. Like so many of the features that we've been adding for Federation services, we come in and we add Active Directory rights management services. We add the features that go along with it. We choose Next and Next and Next. We indicate that we'd like to integrate this with Federation services, so we add Identity Federation support and choose Next. And then next again, and next again to the additional features that need to be installed, and then install. And this installation doesn't require any further operation from us. We need it to complete, though, where we'll be given a link to finish up the configuration. Now, there is one additional step you would create ahead of time, and we're going to cheat a little bit. You would create an SSL certificate for the URL that you're going to use for these identity management services. Now, keep in mind that we'll, again, just use the existing SSL certificate we have. We don't want to run you through the creation of an SSL certificate again. You've done that already. So that's one little shortcut we're going to take, and I'll show you where that happens in the configuration. Speaking of the configuration, we're ready to perform the additional configuration that would be needed for these rights management services. All right, let me move this so we can see it. We can read all about this great service here. Choose Next. We're creating a new Active Directory RMS root cluster. We'll choose Next. We are going to use the internal database of Windows on this server, because in our example, we're pretending we're not going to do a massive implementation of this that might warrant its own separate database server, an instance like SQL Server, for instance. We'll choose Next. And that's that domain user account step. So we'll specify that AD RMS account that we created, and we're going to paste in the password from the clipboard and say OK. Next up, the service account is going to be passed because we filled that out, and we're going to specify the cryptographic mode. So we can go with the default RSA 2048-bit keys, SHA-256 hashes. Remember, we need to make sure we're in compliant with local laws when we set the cryptographic strength. We'll choose Next, and we are going to do ADRMS to centrally manage the key storage. That's fine. We'll choose Next, and we need to do an ADRMS cluster key password. So we'll drop in our password from the clipboard and confirm that. Next up, we are going to select a website for the virtual directory. Our default website from IIS will do just fine. We'll choose Next. And here's where we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to use an SSL encrypted connection of HTTPS. And for the fully qualified domain name, we'll cheat and do fs.nuggetlab.com that we have an SSL certificate for. You'd want to do your own unique URL here for the ADRMS, and you'd want to have the SSL certificate for that. We'll just cheat though, like I said, and we'll use our existing SSL certificate for encryption of fs.nuggetlab.com, and we'll choose Next. And we'll go ahead and name the server licenser certificate DCNUG1-ADRMS. We'll choose Next. And we'll register our ADRMS service connection point. This is how entities will be able to connect to this service on our system. And choose Next. And we'll give our Federation server name. This is actually going to be fs.nuggetlab.com so that we can interact with Federation services with this awesome RMS capability that we're adding. We'll choose Next and install. And that's it to add our Active Directory rights management service to really bring even additional powers to Federation services as we interact with other enterprises out there in the world. So you're interested in sharing resources between your enterprise and another enterprise? A whole host of services and capabilities to the rescue, Federation services, potentially your web application proxy, and Active Directory rights management services. Taken together, we've seen how we can deploy these valuable ingredients for that enterprise that plans on working with some maybe partner organization out there that they're simply not close enough to form a forest and a forest trust with. I hope you found this nugget informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.